Today's show is sponsored by the New Orleans Bourbon Festival. Enjoy exceptional bourbon, bourbon seminars, and cuisine surrounded by the charm and culture of New Orleans. The dates are March 24 through 26. Learn more at NewOrleansBourbonFestival.com. We are also sponsored by Round Table Woodworks and BarrelChips.com. They are bringing whiskey smoke to your favorite foods with their authentic whiskey barrel smoking chips.
You're listening to the Firewater Review. This is a podcast dedicated to whiskey reviews. On today's show, we will be reviewing Old Forester Birthday Bourbon 2015. I am your host, Seth Brown. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Aaron Cave. How are you this lovely evening, sir?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing great. I'm sitting here, I'm drinking bourbon, I get to talk about it, I get to drink it. Can't be much better than that.
Correct. It can't be.
So tonight, as I mentioned, we are drinking Old Forester Birthday Bourbon 2015. So I think you mentioned that you had just opened your bottle earlier today. Mine has
opened it.
Mine has been opened for, well, this is 2017, so it's been open for about a year and a half, I would say, because I don't think I opened it as soon as I got it. But there's not a lot gone out of it. It's, the Old Forester bottles are kind of the squatty, dumpy looking ones. Mine is just below that main ridge there, just above the O in Old Forester. So just above.
Oh yeah, you got quite a bit.
Yeah. The my 2014 and 15 have actually almost exact. I'm looking at the 14 bottle right now. They have almost exactly the same amount left in them, and then my 16 is approaching below the Forester level, the bottom of Forester. So I've I've had a little bit more of that one.
So we know which one you like so far.
Well, yes, that one actually got opened on my birthday, my 40th birthday. So It wasn't just me drinking out of that one. It was me and 2 or 3 other guys. So it was, that was the first one that I opened. So that was the first one that all of us got into on my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was good though. I'm probably jumping ahead of myself here a little bit, but I haven't done a side by side of 14, 15, and 16 to be honest. And I've got a sample of a 2008. I haven't done a side by side of them, and I probably should, just because I don't know what it was. Just the 16 really jumped out at me. Like I was like, okay, this one was totally different than the last two. And yeah, I need to revisit all of them all at one sitting and get into it. So what can you tell us about Old Forester Birthday?
So, the Old Forester Birthday Bourbon is a yearly limited release from Brown-Forman. It's released each year around the beginning of September, usually September 2nd, to commemorate the founder, George Garvin Brown's birthday. The first year that this was released was back in 2002. So this makes this the 14th release of the series. This year, or not this year, but 2015, they released somewhere between 13,000 bottles. It was close to 13,000. So this bourbon it's the first birthday bourbon that they have actually bottled at 100 proof. It's 12 years old, as we mentioned, and the neat thing about this is it was all distilled on the same day, so June 13th, 2003. And then another kind of cool fact is where it was aged. So it was all distilled on the exact same day and all aged in the same warehouse. And the warehouse it was aged in, they were all located together by a window and a heating duct. So
interesting.
So this results in a higher temperature during the warehouse climate control cycles. So from what Brown-Forman says, it results in a very robust, intense wood-driven characteristic of this bourbon. So I don't know if this is true or not. I'm hoping it is, but I'm guessing since it's Old Forester, it would have the same mash bill as your normal Old Foresters. So which would be 72% corn, 18% rye, and 10% barley. It came in. I don't. 2015 was that was the year they raised the price from 60 to 80, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It was.
Yeah. So they raised the price that year. That's about all I got. I mean,
paying for the extra proof.
Yeah. That extra 2 to 3 proof. That's $20, I guess.
Yeah. No, it was funny because the 2015, I remember that because I actually ran up on a store that had 2008 birthday bourbon sitting on the shelf, and I bought it. And I just remember thinking that it had been $60, but that store, which normally has higher prices, charged me $80. So it was an old bottle just at the new pricing. And then I ended up selling that 2008 to a guy here in the Atlanta area because one of his children were born in 2008. And I don't. A lot of people get into that. You see a lot of the Old Forester birthday bourbons and the Blantons that have the dates on the side of it. Mm-hmm. A lot of people collecting those for either their birthday or their children's birthday or anniversaries or whatever. And it didn't even dawn because I'm not really into that. Like I kind of got into 1976's just because it was my birth year. But when you get into stuff like that, you're looking at potentially a lot more money, especially nowadays. So collecting 1976 bourbons isn't really feasible for most people. So I haven't really been into that as far as collecting bourbons with my kids. And it didn't dawn on me until, and this probably sounds awful for me to say, but it didn't dawn on me until I had offered it to this guy to buy, that it was my daughter's birth year. It was like I could have kept it for her, and probably of either of my two kids, my daughter would be the one to drink my bourbon. Mm-hmm. But there again, I'm not into that sort of thing, but a lot of people are. So that's cool, and if you're into it, go for it. But it was the long story of that, or the short story of that potentially long story, is that I did end up getting a sample, as I mentioned before, of the 2008, which just so happened to be bottles that same store had gotten. So I do have a sample of that 2008, and I haven't opened it yet, and looking forward to that one.
So yeah, I actually picked up 2014 was the year my son was born, and I actually picked up 2 bottles that year, and I'm going to see if I can keep one back for him.
Worst case, you'll have a 2-ounce sample for him, right?
Yes. But I actually took I already drank the 2014 bottle. That's long gone, but the second one I took and kind of like pushed all the way to the back corner of like all my bourbon cabinet stuff.
Yeah.
And that way it's like hidden in a dark place, surrounded by. So I don't have a cabinet per se. I got like shelves and it's all the way in the corner on the farthest shelf against the wall, surrounded by beer, which I don't really drink a whole lot of. Yeah. So I'm hoping to forget about it. So,
well, what you should do is ask Steve Akeley, because he unknowingly hid a bottle of Old Rip Van Winkle 10-year from himself.
Oh, that's right.
So you should ask him how to hide bottles from yourself if you have problems, and keep finding yourself wanting that one.
Oh, I mean, I came across something. I think we talked about it on one of the shows. I came across something not too long ago that I forgot I had. I can't remember what it was, but it happens a lot. You're looking through what you got and you're like, what's that?
Yeah.
Oh, I got one. I got that. Where did that come from? So yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun to go shopping in your bunker.
I know, right?
What you're gonna find.
I know. That's the glorious part of having a bunker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. One other note about this. It's, you've got that bourbon hunting season, and usually October is, the October and really into November is that prime quote unquote hunting season.
Mm-hmm.
But this really is the bourbon that kicks off that season, because it's launched in September of every year. I mean, you can guarantee that Brown-Forman is going to have Old Forester Birthday ready in September, because it's just what they do. So that, once you start seeing that pop up in stores, the season is upon you. And it's funny because, neither one of my stores get a whole heck of a lot of the allocated releases, but both of the ones that I frequent always get Old Forester. I don't know what it is. They just always do. I mean, you mentioned there's 13,500 or so. So it's a fairly big release, but then, you take the opposite end of that. You've got Elijah Craig 18-year, and there's, usually around 15 to 18,000 bottles of it. And neither one of my stores get that. So it's really weird how it works out. I don't know why that is, but anyway, once you see Old Forester Birthday popping up in the stores, it's time to be on the lookout for everything else that you're interested in buying. All right, we're going to hit the break here. We're going to take some sips on this Old Forester Birthday Bourbon from 2015, take some notes, and when we come back, we will share our thoughts on it.
Dirty Knees Soap Co. DirtyKneesSoap.com. Dirty Knees Soap Co. Hey guys, can you hear me on my keyboard here?
I can.
Yes.
You know what I'm doing?
What's that?
What are you doing?
I am creating a store account with Dirty Knees Soap to get my Dirty Knees rewards. Are you guys familiar with this?
I am not.
No. Tell us about it.
Let me tell you, they have an awesome loyalty program here where just for signing up, you get 250 free points. Now, for every $1 you spend, you get 10 points. And here's the thing. These points don't get you, like a beer koozie or a keychain. These points actually go toward actual future purchases, and you save real dollars. Your first 750 points will get you $10 off a purchase, all the way up to 6,000 points, getting you $75 off. So again, you sign up, you create an account, you get 250 points right out of the gate, and then for every $1 you spend, you get 10 more points. This can rack up pretty quick, and you'll be spending your money on excellent products from Dirty Knees Soap, and you'll also be gaining rewards towards free products.
Nice. And it's soap. You always need soap.
Who doesn't need soap? And even myself, increasingly so. My soap budget just, grew by 7 times. So this is very important to me. That's Dirty Knees Soap Co. DirtyKneeSoap.com. Use promo code Bourbon20 to get 20% off your first order.
All right, welcome back, everybody. In the break, we have been tasting and taking down some notes on Old Forester Birthday Bourbon from 2015. And as per usual, I will let Aaron kick this off with his notes.
All right, so Old Forester Birthday Bourbon, 2015. Right off the bat, get a little bit of just light vanilla, hints of butterscotch, get a lot of roasted corn, bits of cinnamon and clove. There's a ton of oak to this, almost over oaked for me. It's not like just a regular nice oak. It's almost like a charred oak smell. But I get little hints of citrus in there, maybe some orange zest, and a little bit of maybe smoky pipe tobacco. But on the palate, it's for me it's kind of thin on the palate. It's kind of light, thin. It's sweet up front, but that fades super quick. But up front, it's just vanilla, a little bit of maple syrup. You almost get like a molasses out of it. But then that fades super quick. Then you're hit with rye and just some quick cinnamon and almost like red hots for me. But that fades pretty quick, and then I'm just left with this big, huge, just charred oak, and it's kind of on the drier side right at the end. It just all that sweetness just fades out and leaves you just kind of dry and flat. Finish was medium. It's I get a little bit of caramel on the finish, cinnamon definitely, and that oak is just ever prevalent there. Just it's all throughout. The oak's just everywhere. That said, I'm giving this about an 83.
Oh,
yeah. I don't want to say it's not my bag of tea, but it's just it's missing something for me. I don't know what, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because I think this is probably one of the first shows that we've done. This is, I don't know what number this is, but where we've had really kind of stark differences in the reviews, because I was listening to yours and jotting down a few of the notes and looking back at my notes, I thought, wow, this is a big time difference in the two. And like I said, go before the break, mine's been open for a year and a half, and you just opened yours up today. So
3 o'clock.
Yeah.
3 o'clock today.
But as you said too, I mean, these were all aged in the same location, and so there's how many bottles did you say there were? 13. So what?
13,000. No,
13,000. So what would that come out to as far as barrels? Do we think probably?
Usually, most at a 12-year, I'd imagine maybe 110 to 140 per barrel.
Yeah.
So,
but to be in roughly the same location, obviously the same distillate on the same day, for that matter, barreled on the same day, distilled on the same day, everything to be really as close to as being the same as you could over a 12-year period. I was like, wow, this is kind of cool just to see how much a bottle could potentially change just in the time that it's open. Now, granted, mine is still relatively full, so it's not like it's been oxidized or anything over the last year and a half or anything like that. I mean, maybe some of that has happened, but I don't know. Anyway, so let me get into it. The nose on mine was really dry. You mentioned some of the dryness on the palate kind of going into the finish, but the nose, it's rare for me, at least anyway. I can't remember any recent bourbons that I've picked up a nose that just the aromas were dry. But I picked up a lot of really dry oak, kind of older oak, lots of black pepper, tobacco, a little bit of clove, hints of nutmeg, and just a pinch of allspice in there. But then, a lot of times, if I have time when I get home from work, when we're doing a show, I'll pour a glass of whatever it is that we're going to be reviewing that night, and I'll take some notes down right after I pour it, and then I'll revisit it once we actually start recording. And coming back to this, I pick up a lot more brown sugar. The oak and the tobacco that I get are still really prevalent in it, but there's more brown sugar to it now that I think, it's had time to breathe a little bit. So I thought that was really cool there. The palate for me was very earthy. Lots of tobacco that leads the way there, and that dried oak that I mentioned in the nose. It's, I don't know. There's a little bit of honey there too. It was hard to pick up on that. The oak was very, very forward, and I think that's where both of ours kind of matched up on some stuff. While being relatively dry, mine managed to have a fairly decent body to it. It had some citrus towards the back end of the palate, and that kind of pulled me into a medium to long finish. And that transitioned back to some of the nice black pepper spice that I got there in the nose and early on in the palate. Towards the end of that finish, though, I start picking up more of the tobacco and just a little hint of nuts. Overall, I gave this, it was an 87, and I just wish that it was a little bit more full bodied and a little bit more balanced. Maybe I should almost kind of knock that down a little bit from an 87. But that's initially what I jotted down here when I first made these notes. But just I think in line with yours, I wish the finish was just a little bit longer. I wish it had a little bit more body to it, but I do really like the earthiness of it. It's kind of a change of pace from some of what I've had recently. I do like those tobacco notes and the black pepper spice, and I didn't get a whole lot of cinnamon in this, but it was just kind of lacking something, to kind of really push it over the top for me. But it has changed, I think, over time, because I remember when I first opened this, I was kind of like, it's 12 years old. You're paying $80 for it. Most cases nowadays, you're paying for the age when it comes to stuff like that. I do remember opening it thinking it's okay. I'm not sure it's $80 okay, but it's okay. But revisiting it, it's a little bit better. Like I said, it's just the nose to me was super interesting. Just the dryness of that nose. So
yeah, it is super dry. It's very dry on the nose. So, you sticking with 87?
Yeah, I think so. All so. Right. It's probably the most math we've had on a recent show.
Yeah, I know. It gives us a solid 85. So that's good. That's good.
It's still not bad.
Good solid pour. Yeah, and I'll probably revisit. I mean, I just opened this today, so I'll probably revisit it in a month, and the score might pop up a little bit just because, I should have added some of that limestone water to it.
There you go.
See what happens.
Good old limestone.
Yeah. Oh well. Like you said, that Elijah Cray 23. You opened it and you're like, oh, I just wasted $200.
Right.
Then you revisit it, down the road, and you're like, oh man, this is great. So, and I've had plenty of bottles like that. So,
Yeah,
I'm not disappointed with this. It's still a good pour, and even me personally giving it an 83 is I mean, I give usually, there's a lot of bourbons I would probably give an 83 that are just great, good pours.
Right.
So it's not anything against this bottle, or that's just where I landed with it. It was just it was lacking something. It didn't have that balance that I really like.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's fun too. These are yearly releases, of course, and it's fun to, as I mentioned, I've not done these side by side, and I should do these side by side, but knowing that they differ from year to year is fun to me. I mean, because you never know what you're going to get, and
oh yeah,
it's always fun to open it, and even if you're a little let down at first, it's been quite a while since I've had this one. It's just fun to jump back into them and see what you pick up differences from the previous times. And in the past I've been bad about jotting down notes, what I pick up, but I've slowly gotten better about that over the last year or so. And this one, unfortunately, I don't have any notes that I'd written down prior, but definitely I have enough left in this bottle that I now have legit notes that I can go back and revisit the next time I open it, just to see if I get anything different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, all right. So what was it? 85?
85.
85. So that's not a bad score for 2015 Old Forester Birthday Bourbon. All right. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
So I am on Instagram and Twitter at Bourbon Cave. I also write a column for the Bourbon Zeppelin that is high proof single barrel bourbons. You can find that every month in the Bourbon Zeppelin. I also write for the Sons of Winston Churchill, so check that out. And you can always find me here on Firewater Review with the Colonel.
The Colonel. The other Colonel, I guess, maybe.
So many colonels now.
Evan's just a colonel with a K.
Yeah, wow.
I am Seth P. Brown on Instagram and the Twitter. I can be found on this show, of course, the Firewater Review, and I can be found on the Bourbon Show. That is at the Bourbon Show on Instagram, Twitter, and we're on Facebook as well. All the shows that we do on this network can be found on abvnetwork.com. So go check that out. You can listen to the episodes there, play them there. It's the site is mobile responsive, so you can pull that up on your tablet or mobile phone and play that anywhere. No plugins needed, no app to download, nothing. What you can do for us is go into iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. Leave us feedback and reviews. We like to hear from our listeners what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, even what you might want us to review on the show. We'd love to hear from you. So that's it. I do reviews on Son of Winston Churchill. I want to plug that too. It's Hassie does a great job over there. We've got a couple of new people giving reviews on that site. So definitely check that out. It's you can find him on Instagram at Son of Winston Churchill, and you've got a link in the bio there to the most recent reviews, and he is really doing some great work over there. So be sure to check that out as well. That's all I have. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it, and until next time, cheers.
Later.
The Firewater Review is part of the ABV network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers.
This episode brought to you by whiskeythreads.com. That's WHISKEYTHREADZ.com. Whiskey Threads is modern whiskey gear for those who know whiskey. Just a quick reminder to drink responsibly.